G'day. In today's fast-paced, tech-driven world, I find many of our transactions that we have or interactions with people seem rushed, cold, or just transactional. But it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Barry, or Baz to my mates. Thanks for checking out this video. Today I want to talk about the lost art of being personable and why it still matters. A few months back on a road trip down south, I popped into a second-hand or vintage shop in the small town of Witchcliff. While I was in the store, I struck up a conversation with the store owner. And we must have been chatting for 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. Now, as I went to leave, she handed me something which left quite an impression on me. I didn't realise it, but while we were chatting, she was making up a business card. And this is what she handed to me. It was just a simple card with her business details on it, but also the details of a fair, which we spoke about and which she organises in November of every year. Just the fact that she went to the trouble of making this card up for me and including the dates of the fair, which we spoke about in our conversation, really made that transaction a more personable transaction, and it's one I won't forget in a long time. Recently, I made an online purchase of some stickers for my ice cream business. Now, I've used this company in the past. It's probably been a couple of years since I last ordered stickers in bulk from them. But when I received the stickers, I also received a thank you card from the founder and CEO of the company. And here it is. Here it was nicely packaged, and he just thanked me for being one of his customers and choosing to deal with them. He also included a small gift in this, and I guess they're a stationery company, so it wouldn't have cost them a lot to produce these, but they're notepads and that, and something which I'll definitely use. But this small gesture made that transaction quite personable, and I will certainly continue using that company in the future. Now, I know I mentioned it in a recent video, but another online transaction I had was with a company that produces film for cameras, Walken's House of Film. And when I received the film from that company, there was a sticker on it, and it said packed by Josh, I think was his name. And as soon as I saw that, I had this image of this young man carefully wrapping my parcel of film. And again, it personalised that transaction. And some may say, well, it's a clever marketing trick, but things like that stand out in this fast-paced world, and especially when you're buying online, and I think this was a great idea, and certainly I was wrapped with the way they packaged it and the quick service and everything, and I'll certainly be returning to that company. I feel another way that we can make things more memorable is by putting a little bit of effort, a little bit of extra effort into what we do. It's these days it's so easy, especially at Christmas time, for instance, to just put up a post on Facebook and wish all your friends and family a happy Christmas or whatever it is. But I still enjoy getting the physical Christmas cards, where they've got handwritten notes from people, from the senders, asking me how the family is, telling me about what's happening in their family. And when it comes to letters, I haven't written a letter for a while, but my mum handed me this letter a couple of years back. It was written by her father back in the 1940s, and it was addressed to their mum's cousin. And they must have handed it back to mum after her dad died. And in that letter, my grandfather spoke of what he thought of the war at that stage, at that time. This was just after World War II. He'd been involved, I know he's involved in the First World War. Not sure, I think he was probably too old to fight in the Second World War, but the letter gave me an insight into his character and his personality and his beliefs. And I'll treasure that letter. It's 80 years now since he wrote it. And hopefully my kids will treasure it when I pass it on to them. I think letters are going to be, like, if that had been an email or a text, it would have been lost or forgotten, as many are now. And I just think handwriting a letter, is a really personable way of communicating, and something which is quite valued today, I feel. Just last week I had quite a nice experience on the train. I caught the train into the city, and as soon as I hopped on, I no longer had I sat down when the speaker, this kind of computerized voice, come over and said, next station is Whitford's. And I was like, Whitford's is back there, And I said to the guy sitting next to me, I said, hey, am I on the right train, mate? Are we going into the city? And he said, yeah, don't stress. He said, no, we're going into the city. Yeah, that's all buggered up, the system, and it's telling us the wrong station has been all morning, or as long as it had been on the train for. So anyway, that was good. But we got chatting, and he ended up taking off he had some dark glasses on like these, and he ended up taking them off, and we had a good chat. He was from New Zealand, I'm from New Zealand, and it just made that train trip, made it memorable. And it was interesting, but there were 3 other males in our end of the carriage, so the 4 of us all told. And I did notice that on that whole trip, the whole time I was in the train, not one of us had our phones out. And I think that makes a difference. It's just something small, but it opens you up to the possibility of having a conversation with someone else. Another experience I had a few years back now, was in Thailand when I was over there, and I was on a bus trip which went for about 4 hours, and I had this young Thai girl sitting next to me, and for about an hour neither of us said anything to each other, and then after about an hour I got some biscuits out of my bag and I offered her a biscuit, and that broke the ice. She declined, but yeah, after that we chatted quite a bit for the rest of the trip, and it was interesting. So often it just takes something small to break the ice, as it did in this recent trip in the train. It just took me to asked this guy if we were heading in the right direction or not, and that kind of broke the ice and opened us up to further conversation. So I just wanted to share these experiences today with you all, and I would love to hear if you've had any similar experiences, or if there's anything that you do to make interactions and that with others more personable and more person-centered. I'd love to hear about them. Thanks for watching. Bye.